Well, guys, we heard from Will Muschamp tonight, and it was certainly another frustrating performance from his defense against a tough team and a tough loss in Arkansas in 4 overtimes, where in regulation they certainly did better, Wes. We saw that towards the end, but in overtime, yeah, some of the stats get a little bit skewed, but bottom line was, and Will said as much, they were in position to make some plays to get off the field and end the game, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, that was really hard on a lot of those players because, you know, they had a couple chances there in overtime after Auburn took their first lead in the first overtime and then another lead in the third overtime. Got them got forced 2 4th downs and weren't able to keep Arkansas out of the end zone. So, you know, you look at the stats and in regulation they kept them to, I think, 357 yards, which is, for this defense, you know, keeping a team under 400 yards is definitely better than some of their other performances. But then, you know, they gave up 100 yards in 4 overtime periods. So, you know, it wasn't a great performance. But again, they did force some punts, they did force some 4th downs. They just could not finish the job, and so.
And it begs the question, Brandon, whether or not this is what we're just going to see from this Auburn defense this season, which is, statistically speaking, over the course of the year, they're in last in the SEC in total defense, last in scoring defense. There has been some areas of improvement at different points, but it's been inconsistent. That's what Will Muschamp even said tonight, was a lot of inconsistency. Is this basically what we have to expect these last 5 games?
I think so, unless they get Carl Lawson back in some capacity. I'm not saying he's a one-man wrecking crew in which is going to change everything, but he will change it a little bit. And maybe you can get some positive vibes from that. From what you're watching, you're seeing guys like Chris Frost missing tackles on Brandon Allen, a quarterback. Guys aren't fitting gaps correctly. They're getting blown off the ball. Brandon Allen had a 5-yard quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just been some bad situations for this defense. They're just not getting off blocks and making tackles, is what Will Muschamp said. And when a lot of that's happening from the seniors, I don't know if you can correct that in the final 5 games of their career. So I think what you see right now is what you're going to get. Now, you will see some good performances, I think, at some point. I think, in fact, you're going to see a better performance against Ole Miss this week. I'm going to sound crazy, and I'm going to be the craziest person this week. I think they've got a good shot against Ole Miss with the way Auburn plays defensively. But having said that, what you see right now is probably what you're going to get, maybe with one little added spice, and that being Carl Lawson if he returns to the field.
And I see what you mean there with the Ole Miss game in particular, because you've always viewed them as one-dimensional without the running game, and even though Auburn is very poor against the run, if you take that away more or less and relieve that threat and make it just about pass coverage, especially if Carl Lawson were able to contribute in any way, not saying that he is, we don't know, and Will wouldn't say one way or the other. We'll find out later this week, hopefully. But if that is the only thing you really have to focus on, does that help? I think that could help them. That said, they have not been a particularly strong defensive pass coverage either. Brandon Allen was able to have some success, and yeah, you also saw obviously Dak Prescott have some success and Patrick Tolles have some success passing against this team. So there's areas where there could be some improvement, but there's still plenty of areas of frustration for this defense.